Hey there, friends and enemies. Jopa here again, and welcome to the weekly Loot Drop, my podcast about all your favorite looter games from Destiny to Diablo and everything in between. And this week was an absolute banger in video games, but also in looter specifically. So I'm going to jump into a lot of things. We got Destiny 2 Season of the Deep and a new dungeon. We got the first teaser for the final shape, including the return of Cade 6, a fan favorite character from Destiny 2. We also got Bungie's unannounced game finally confirmed to be Marathon as an extraction shooter, so that'll be very fascinating. And then this week is also the Diablo 4 launch, so lots going on this week. It's going to be pretty crazy, so I'm going to touch on a little bit of everything and jumping right into it. Destiny 2 Season of the Deep launched, and it's pretty solid so far. I'm really enjoying it. The initial reactions from the community seem to be pretty good. We've got some really important changes, I think, going forward. And I know there's going to be a focus on monetization, right? That's something a lot of people have brought up recently with regards to Bungie, as far as whether or not they should be trusted because of their monetization method and the amount of content they're putting into the game. But for me, the things that we're seeing, the general improvements, have been significant enough for me to find it worthwhile. So, what I mean by that is we have taken themed weapons now that are quote unquote reskinned Gambit weapons, but with new flavors. They're all new elements, they're new uh, slots as far as where they belong. And even though they are reskins, they do have taken effects on them, and they just look way cooler, and I really enjoy them. So for me, if you're going to bring back old weapons but they're modified to this degree, I find that really really cool. We got new strand aspects which really enhance those builds, overhaul of like 25 or so exotics, all of which feel really good now. Some nerfs, some buffs, all that kind of good stuff, which I think is important for the health of the game. And yeah, overall, I think there's a lot of positive changes. We got fishing in Destiny 2, which kind of moves it from a looter to an MMO, in my opinion. But it's a really fascinating way to approach fishing as well, because not only do you fish to get different um, commendations, you can get fish to get different um, triumphs in the game, which is good enough. I know a lot of people will chase that, especially when they're chasing seals and their titles and everything. But also, one of the more surprising things, you actually get loot from dunking your fish in the helm. So that was really, really interesting to me. If you get an exotic fish, you then turn that into an exotic armor or maybe an exotic weapon. I'm not sure. I've only gotten armor from it. So I think that's really cool. It kind of makes your time a little bit more valuable as you're chasing some of those triumphs. And that's very important, in my opinion, because fishing is fun, it's relaxing, it's satisfying. A lot of people are really digging it, and I kind of tend to agree. So I think that's a massive quality of life change that some people are speculating will leave after the season. I personally hope it lasts until the final shape. That's my guess. And then, if that is the case, they will probably be able to introduce it as a full time thing at that point if it is that well received. If a lot of people are taking part in the fishing, they will be able to keep that around. The new dungeon, the armor is fantastic. It actually shades with this shader called Photo Finish, and it makes it have an RGB effect. And the dungeon has like underwater parts. That's one of the new changes we got this season as well, that add a little bit of difference. Like, yeah, sometimes the underwater parts might get a little tedious over the course of time, but overall, I think they just provide a different atmosphere, which I very much enjoy. I like new cool things in Destiny 2, whether they get old or not after so long of a period, after you've done it so many times, you've finished an activity, remains to be seen. Like, that happens with pretty much everything. So the other really nice quality of life change that I am very interested in is the fact that not only is Last Wish farmable, but also the raid weapons from that are craftable with new perks, some of which are actually insane. So we got like Age Old Bond has the first primary weapon, I believe, with destabilizing rounds and repulsor brace, which is a wicked combination on a primary. And there's just a lot of others that are very good. The rocket launcher, the bow, all of these are very, very fascinating weapons that I think can perform well. So I'm really glad to see that raid be relevant again. And the fact that they are bringing forward these raids and making them exciting again and adding ways, not only can you farm the encounters so you can kind of play them repeatedly for additional loot, but also now you can craft those weapons and they drop with new rolls, which is going to push more people into the raid, which is going to get more people to get the exotic, because another quality of life change. Now the triumphs linked to the raid that you might have completed, challenges and the like, those actually will give you a higher drop chance for your raid weapon. So all of that is very good. And I don't know if Bungie gets the credit they deserve for some of these quality of life changes, these steady improvements that we get, because everyone tends to focus on the negative. That's not me though. I'm a pretty positive person when it comes to these games, and I think overall that I like the direction the game is heading, and I think we'll see, depending on the direction they go after the final shape, whether they kind of change up the formula a little bit. I could see them taking a break from the seasonal model for like a year or so as they kind of reorganize stuff, as they maybe lose the last gen consoles, anything like that. I think will make a major difference to the game. And overall, I remains to be seen how much change they're gonna have, but I'm looking forward to the future of the game, and really looking forward to the final shape, the final DLC, the final expansion within the Light versus Dark saga. And we got a teaser for Cade 6, and there was mixed reactions on that. A lot of people were excited, which I am as well, but some people were like, well, narratively speaking, this diminishes his loss. And I disagree wholeheartedly for two reasons. One, his death was so long ago that uh, I think that that's all in the past, right? I think by this point we have felt his loss. He's been gone for a long time. Him coming back is probably not going to be him coming back in the same way that we saw him before. It could be a multiple reasons that it happens, right? He could be almost similar to a Force ghost, like Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars, right? Where he's there, but he's not really there. He's just kind of a guiding light for us. He could be trapped in the veil and just never gets out, or at least whatever world that is, a dream state, whatever the case. So there's a lot of ways for that to make sense where he's not like alive, and I think teasing him in advance will get people talking about it, will get people interested, and I'm kind of glad that they did do that. The other option would be for him to be almost like Gamora, right? Maybe he's an alternate universe version of himself, but instead of being alive and back to his usual self, he's actually from another dimension, and so he's there to help out, just like we've seen with like Elsie Bray and stuff like that. And so I don't know. We'll see. I think there's a lot of ways they can do it to make a lot of sense. It remains to be seen if they're going to do that, but I would imagine they're going to do something that is not going to be just him being revived and back as part of the franchise. Even though I miss Nathan Fillion as his voice actor, so I wouldn't mind him being around as like a kind of a guiding light type of figure where he does have voice lines and the like. I think that would be really cool personally. So we'll have to wait and see on that as well. Then we've got look over here. Oh, we got Cade right there. There you go. Cade 6. If you're on the voice only on the YouTube, you can see the whole background I have behind me, and I do have some Cade 6 art, which is very, very cool. I'm very blessed. I got that at GardenCon a couple years ago. So yeah, overall, that's massive. I think that when the final shape happens, there's gonna be a lot of twists and turns, and they're really gonna try to surprise us. And so for that reason, would not be surprised if there's some things going on with Cade, with maybe Amanda Holiday, and that kind of thing that is going to kind of shake things up quite a bit. But we'll see. I'm excited about the story, and it does seem like we're gonna get some more answers to that going forward. So we may know about Cade before the final shape drops, and that's why they teased it so early, because if that's part of one of the seasonal stories, that would make a lot of sense as well. Maybe we interact with him before he fully comes back in the final shape. So we'll see. I'm excited about the future, and I'm looking forward to the storytelling of Season of the Deep as well, because we are learning a lot about the Veil. We're learning about this massive underwater creature. We got Sloan back, and the story, I think, is just really picking up. And I wish they would have done narratively this continuous story with the seasons in the past, with some additions of some other stories that we might not have gotten, instead of like standalone things like Season of the Plunder, which again, all of that kind of ties into the fact that we've been recruiting our allies, the Elixni, the Cabal, so it all does tie together, but not as closely as this year will. I wish we would have got more stuff with like Shin Malphur and some of these characters that are well liked in the community. But maybe we'll get all that after the Light vs Dark Saga is over. Anyway, jumping back into the PlayStation Showcase that happened, where we got the Final Shape trailer, we also got a trailer for Bungie's new game called Marathon, and that looks insane. It is just like a cinematic. We didn't get any gameplay or anything like that. Obviously, it's still very early. Probably not going to see that maybe until 2025, or at the very earliest, probably late 2024, which is still quite a ways away. But the game, if it's got Bungie's kind of shooting and the way the gunplay feels, added into an extraction shooter with some twists, maybe not Tarkov like, maybe kind of a combination Tarkov, Cycle, those types of games, DMZ. So learning the lessons from those games and improving upon that, it could be phenomenal. So I'm really excited about that. And I was really pleasantly surprised by that announcement, because I was not expecting it at all. It's a game that definitely came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting them to announce it already, but I think it is the perfect time to announce it now that I'm thinking about it, because after we have the Final Shape, if they do take a break from content, if we don't have another major expansion that following year, if they take a year off of Destiny 2, that would be the perfect time in maybe the fall of 2024 or early 2025 to launch a Marathon, when they have full backing of the studio behind it. And I'm really excited to see what they do. I can't wait to get hands on. I really won't get in more depth about it now, because we do have quite some time before we see any gameplay. But if I get any early access content, if I'm able to get hands on with it, I'll definitely let you guys know how it goes. And I'm excited. I'm really ready for a new Bungie game. And I think I hope they're innovative with this, because I feel like Destiny, while I still enjoy the game very much, has kind of been following the same path for quite some time. And I really hope Marathon is the shakeup that the studio needs in order to be innovative once again. Because don't forget, we never had a shooter raid, like a first-person shooter raid, before Destiny 2, right? We never had a lot of these things we see in Destiny before that game came around, before Bungie implemented that. So we know they can come up with some creative ideas, and I hope that's what they do with Marathon as well. Now, jumping into Diablo 4's launch. This is where I am incredibly hyped. Just a couple days. It comes out on Thursday in early access. I'm going to be playing it day one. I'm probably going to main Sorcerer to start. However, if you might have missed it, I am running a charity campaign for stackup.org. If you are able to contribute, definitely do so. I'll leave a link in the description. But if I hit the goal, my next goal, I will be playing a hardcore character, and whoever donates the most towards that goal will actually get to choose what character that is. So I'd love to hear if that is something you guys would be interested in contributing for and all that kind of stuff. I'll probably also have the charity event live when I am streaming this on Twitch on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. The servers might be messed up, so we'll have to wait and see. You never know. I'll have it preloaded and ready to go. But anyway, as far as launch goes, I'm very excited. They've been slowly teasing a lot of new information that I think is very good overall. We're going to look at the end game. We got to look at how the seasons are going to work and getting ready for the seasons and all that kind of good stuff. And I'm really excited to see how this game is going to hold up as it does launch, because this is one of those games that could really sustain people for an extended period of time. Whether it's creating your initial character and really riding with that, min-maxing, getting your perfect build, your perfect loadout, your perfect gear, or it's your seasonal content, which is going to come out shortly after launch, where you're going to be grinding up a character, and that's only going to be for a limited amount of time, rising up the leaderboards, clearing out your battle pass, and all that kind of good stuff. There's a lot to look forward to, and I'm really hyped about it because I think there is an insane amount of potential with the Diablo franchise. I think it's going to be more casual friendly than Path of Exile. It's going to be made for a wider base overall, which some hardcore players might not like as much, but I think that's the trade-off you make, unfortunately, with some of these games, right? Is like you look at Path of Exile, that's a very hardcore game, but that's going to limit the total community that you have, whereas Diablo's a bit more inviting and is going to have a lot more players there, but hopefully still has the challenge at the end game and the variety of content, reasons to play at the end of the day for a lot of that content that's going to keep people engaged and interested. So I'm very excited about that. I think launch is going to be a very interesting time, and we'll know within the first couple weeks as players go through the content, go through all the story progression and all that kind of stuff, how well the game is going to be received and how much excitement there is going to be around the game. Because for me personally, I'm very hyped. I'm really ready. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to see how it goes. But you never know with these games, right? There could be bugs. There could be massive server issues, all that kind of stuff. I think we've seen from the betas that there will be some of that, but hopefully not too prevalent. It hasn't been too crazy especially with the server slam. That one was pretty solid as far as not only the launch goes and how the servers reacted there, but also the bugs and stuff. I didn't have any issues. I know I was on console, so it might be a little bit different on PC, but for me personally, it's not so bad. So as far as launch goes, I'm really ready. I'll be playing Sorcerer. I can't wait to try out all the different characters, though. Druid is probably going to be second on my list. And overall, yeah, I'm just really, really excited to. I'm going to be fully honest here. My first Diablo game at launch ever, right? I've played Diablo 3, I've played Diablo 2, I've done a lot of things in those games. I played Path of Exile, but I was very late to that party. And knowing it's my first one to really dive in, I am incredibly hopeful that this is going to be an absolute banger that I just want to play endlessly for the next weeks and months and even years potentially. So I'm excited. There's a lot going on in the looter space. We're going to have more information on a lot of other games dropping soon, whether it's Synced. The First Descendant has been teased. We are in the middle of a Wayfinder open beta again that is just ending. And that one is going to go into early access in the summer. So once all these games launch and I get a handle on how everything's going, these episodes might just get longer and longer, but that's something you'll have to put up with because I'm excited. I'm really ready for all of the looters that we have in store. And overall, I appreciate everyone stopping by, hanging out, listening to the cast. It does mean the world to me. I know I'm solo right now. Eventually, I am going to look into start having some guests on. So if you ever have a guest that you like to recommend that would come on the cast, definitely let me know and I'll try to set something like that up in the future, especially during the slow times. I like to be a little bit more news heavy during these periods where there's a lot going on, but there's going to be downtime where we don't have a lot of looters like really having new news and crazy information coming out. So during those periods, I'll definitely look at having guests. So I'd love to hear who you would love to have me invite on, and we'll see if we can set something up. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the weekly loot drop. My name is Jopa. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you are on YouTube, leave a rating, follow the cast, whatever you can do to support the channel on whatever platform. Share it with your friends, your family, your brother, sister, lover, whatever the case may be. It helps me out tremendously. It really means the world to me, and I very much appreciate the support so far. Anyway, my name is Jopa. I hope you have a good one, and I'll catch you all later.